Welcome back to Scary Moo, your trusted gateway to the darkest corners of the internet. Tonight, I'm going to share with you the most disturbing experience we've ever had on this channel. This isn't one of those urban legends or creepypasta stories. This is something we tried ourselves, something that left us all shaken and questioning what's real, and what should never be summoned. If you think you're brave enough, keep watching. But be warned. What we found when we tried to summon the scariest internet demon will haunt you long after this video ends. You've heard the stories, right? The ones about viral demons and internet spirits, lurking in the digital shadows, waiting for someone foolish enough to call their name. Most people laugh them off as hoaxes or games. But every so often, something crosses the line. A new legend emerges with a reputation so dark, even the bravest horror fans hesitate. And this time, the legends whispered about a demon born on the internet, a thing stitched together from the worst nightmares of the web, known only by the name, Null Veil. Null Veil isn't just a ghost or some haunted code. It's said to be an entity that feeds off attention, fear, and the spread of its own legend. The more people talk about it, the stronger it becomes. And the only way to summon it is to follow a precise sequence of digital rituals. What happens if you succeed? The stories say Null Veil finds a way into your life. Through screens, through static, through the subtle glitches that start small but grow undeniably sinister. We knew we had to investigate. For horror enthusiasts like us, it was irresistible. We spent days researching the legend, scouring forums, dark web threads, and obscure chat rooms. People claimed Null Veil first appeared in an abandoned chat room, where users started receiving cryptic, glitchy messages late at night. Some said their webcams turned on by themselves. Others swore they saw silhouettes moving behind their reflections in the screen. A few even reported waking up with the taste of iron in their mouths and fresh, unexplained scratches on their bodies. Most people stopped talking about it. A few disappeared completely. But what exactly is Null Veil? According to the legend, it's not a ghost or a demon in the traditional sense. It's an amalgamation, a digital poltergeist, feeding on discarded data, forgotten fears, and the digital footprints we leave behind. It's rumored to have been created accidentally, by a collective of internet users who were obsessed with summoning spirits online. They mixed rituals from various cultures, combined with corrupted code, and performed them over a video call on the darkest night of the year. Something answered, and that something was not what they expected. The instructions for summoning Null Veil are as precise as they're disturbing. Step 1. Find an old computer, preferably one that hasn't been connected to the internet in years. Step 2. Download a specific sequence of corrupted sound files, each named after a forgotten fear. Step 3. Play the files in order, at exactly 3:03 a.m., while staring into the reflection of your screen. Step 4. Type out the phrase, "Show me the face behind the veil," and hit enter. If the ritual works, the legend says, your screen will flicker, and you'll hear static whispers. If you're unlucky, you'll see something staring back at you through the glass. We set up everything according to the ritual. An old laptop, scavenged from a forgotten storage closet, wiped clean and disconnected from Wi-Fi. We hunted down the files, each one more unsettling than the last. There was one labeled, Childhood Screams, another called, Midnight Breaths, and the last, simply titled, Veil. Each sounded warped and distorted, like echoes from nightmares you can't quite remember upon waking. As the clock crept toward 3:03 a.m., the air in the room felt heavy, charged with anticipation and dread. We played the files, one after the other. The laptop speakers crackled with static, bursts of unintelligible whispers, and what sounded like distant, desperate sobbing. Shadows seemed to coil in the corners, and even the temperature dropped, our breath fogging in the stale air. Then came the moment of truth. With trembling fingers, I typed the forbidden phrase, "Show me the face behind the veil." My reflection stared back at me from the dark screen, pale and anxious. The seconds stretched into eternity. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the screen flickered violently, lines of code bleeding down like digital rain. The whispers intensified, warping into guttural, inhuman laughter. My reflection twisted, the features distorting into a grotesque, unrecognizable mask. I tried to look away, but my eyes were glued to the screen. The laughter rose, and then, abruptly, everything went silent. The laptop powered off by itself. The only sound was our own ragged breathing. For a moment, I thought it was over. But then the real horror began. First, it was the phone notifications, strange texts from unknown numbers, each message a string of corrupted symbols. Then, the static started. Every time we tried to record, the audio was filled with hissing, as if something was breathing through the wires. Our electronic devices malfunctioned, lights flickered, screens froze, and every now and then, for a split second, we'd catch a glimpse of that same twisted face in a reflection or a screen, just out of the corner of our eyes. Sleep became impossible. Every night, I'd wake up at exactly 3:03 a.m., heart pounding, convinced there was something standing at the foot of my bed. Sometimes I'd hear it, soft, wet footsteps on the carpet, or the gentle creak of a door that should have been locked tight. The worst was the whispering. Faint and unintelligible at first, but growing clearer each night. It always said the same thing. "Thank you for letting me in." We tried to ignore it. We tried to rationalize it as stress, as overactive imaginations. But the signs only intensified. Friends stopped visiting. Pets refused to enter the room where we'd performed the ritual. The shadows in the corners seemed to deepen, stretching toward us when we weren't looking. Doors slammed themselves shut. The air felt thick and oppressive, as if something unseen was watching, waiting. Desperate, we reached out to the same online communities that had spawned the legend. Most people refused to talk. A few offered cryptic advice. Erase the files, burn the computer, never say the phrase again. One message stood out, sent from an account that vanished hours later. It read, "If you see its face, it sees yours. If you speak its name, it knows where you are. The only way to break the connection is to make someone else believe." But that's the catch, isn't it? By sharing this story, are we passing on the curse? Or is Null Veil just another viral ghost story? A digital campfire tale spun out of control? I can't answer that. All I know is what happened to us. And I can't shake the feeling that by telling you, by making you believe, we're only feeding it, making it stronger. Let's talk about why Null Veil is so terrifying, even compared to other internet legends. Most haunted rituals have clear boundaries. Don't do this, don't say that, and you'll be safe. But Null Veil is different. It thrives on ambiguity, on the uncertainty of what's real and what's not. It uses the very medium we trust most, our screens, our messages, the digital windows we peer into every day. The idea that something could reach through, manipulating our reality from the other side of the glass, is uniquely horrifying. And there's another layer of terror. Null Veil isn't just a ghost or a demon. It's a reflection. A parasite that grows stronger the more we interact with it. Every time we tell its story, every time someone listens or watches or even thinks about it, it grows. It's the ultimate horror for the internet age, a living, breathing nightmare born from our own curiosity and fear. Some skeptics argue that stories like this are just modern folklore, digital urban legends for a new generation. But isn't that what makes them so dangerous? The line between fiction and reality blurs. We want to believe we're safe, that nothing can reach us through our devices. But what if that's exactly what these entities want us to think? What if the real danger is in believing we're untouchable? As horror fans, we're drawn to the unknown. We crave the adrenaline rush, the thrill of a good scare. But sometimes, the things we chase come chasing after us. Null Veil is a perfect example. A legend born from our deepest anxieties about technology, privacy, and the unknown. We created it, and now, it's out there, lurking in the static, waiting for someone else to call its name. For those of you watching, I know what you're thinking. Is this real? Could it happen to me? My answer is simple. Don't try it. Some legends are best left alone. But if you can't resist, if you're tempted to search for the files or repeat the phrase, remember this. Null Veil only needs an invitation. A moment of belief. A single, whispered phrase in the dead of night. Let me tell you about some of the aftermath, the things that happened to others who tried. We found testimonies buried deep in forums, messages from people who claimed Null Veil followed them long after the ritual ended. One person wrote about their screens turning black at 3:03 a.m. every night, showing a face they didn't recognize, until one day, it was their own, twisted and hollow. Another described hearing their own voice echoing back at them in phone calls, but warped and pleading for help. Some said their dreams were invaded by static hands, pulling them closer to the veil. The most chilling stories came from those who tried to make it stop. Deleting the files only made the whispers louder. Smashing the computer sometimes helped, but only for a few days. One person claimed the only way to escape was to pass the story on, make someone else believe, and the presence would fade. But even then, the shadows lingered, just out of sight, waiting for another invitation. To this day, we still experience strange phenomena. The static hasn't stopped. The shadows still move when they think we're not looking. Every now and then, a cold wind sweeps through, carrying the faint scent of burnt wires and old, wet earth. Sometimes, I wake up with fresh scratches on my arms, or find messages on my phone that I don't remember writing. The phrase always repeats. Thank you for letting me in. So why am I sharing this with you? Because horror is about facing the unknown, about exploring the boundaries of what we dare to believe. Null Veil is the ultimate test, a legend that asks, how far will you go for a good scare? How much are you willing to risk for the thrill of the unknown? But remember, some stories are more than just stories. Some legends are hungry, and some demons, once summoned, never really leave. If you're still watching, I challenge you. Look into your screen tonight at 3:03 a.m. Listen for the static, watch for the flicker, and if you hear the whispers, if you see the face behind the veil, remember, you were warned. If you've ever had your own encounter with an internet entity, or if you've tried any digital summoning rituals, let us know in the comments below. But be careful what you share. You never know who, or what, might be reading. If you're new to Scary Moo, make sure to subscribe for more chilling stories and real-life horror investigations. Hit the bell so you don't miss our next dive into the abyss. And if you're feeling brave, share this video with a friend, but don't blame us if the shadows start to move. Sleep tight, horror fans. And remember, sometimes, the scariest monsters are the ones we invite into our own homes, with nothing but a screen and a whisper. Until next time, keep your eyes open, and whatever you do, don't look too closely at your reflection. You never know who, or what, might be looking back.